Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well. It's late February 2024 and a large patch has just come out in DCS and I thought I would go over some of the added features for various aircraft. So in the Mirage F1 we have new fuel tank options and also very importantly IFF is now modelled fully in this aircraft. We'll go over that. JF-17 some fueling options and some miscellaneous stuff. In the F-18 changes to the flight model. In the F-14 we have 3 new exterior pods we need to go over. In the Gazelle we now have AI controlled gunners, which is super cool. The F-15 there's a bunch of stuff, but I'll probably save that to a separate video. So why don't we start with the Gazelle. So I'm in the minigun variant, and previously we could control the side minigunner as a human but not via AI. We now have AI control and I'll show you how that works if I just take off. Gotta go and find some bad guys to shoot. Bad guys spotted. Pause, so we don't have to worry about flying the aircraft. First, to say that as of this patch, the controls have all been reset for the Gazelle for unknown reasons. We now have pilot, gunner, and co-pilot controls to set, so I'm busy setting mine up at the moment. In terms of pilot, the control of the AI gunner can be found by search, and if I type in gunner, we can toggle the gunner menu with this guy here, rules of engagement with that guy there, and burst or auto firing with that guy. So toggle the menu, and we've got the menu at the bottom. If I were to change my burst or auto, change it there. I don't actually know what auto means, so I guess I'll leave it on burst. And if I change my hold fire to fire at will, it will obviously start firing. Before we do that, it's incredibly important that you set the sounds up to aggressively loud. And off he goes! Ah, it doesn't work outside. How about that? AI gunner. Next, Mirage F1. The main feature added is full IFF functionality. This is very important. In DCS, IFF has always been just automatic or semi-automatic, should we say. It's now becoming fully added and modelled in various aircraft. The F-15E you see here has it fully modelled. The Mirage F1's just been added, and I think the Mirage 2000 as well. So Mirage F1, we start here in the main menu, we go to options here, we go to special here, we go to Mirage F1. We can choose if we have our standard IFF panel or if we have what I believe is a newer model of the Mode 4 panel installed, but we'll just go for the basic one. In the mission editor, select our plane, go to additional properties. Regarding IFF, our Mode 2 code can be entered here. If left blank, it will be automatic, or we can change it to whatever we want. I'm not sure exactly which digits we can put in. Also, there's this option here, and it doesn't say what it is in the manual. Force IFF Mode 4 transponder INS. Don't know what that means because the word's cut off. You can either have no, force always disabled, or force always enabled. So let me know what you think about that. Regarding the fuel tank, I said we can now have an extra large fuel tank. The French just love their massive fuel tanks. We could always have the 1100. We now have the 2300 litre. Awfully big fuel tank. As far as operations, I don't think anything else has changed with that. Let's go and look at the IFF panel in game. Right, so it's down here behind the stick. This is a normal place to have it for this era of fighter. It encompasses, as is normal, Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3A, Mode 3C, and Mode 4. Mode 1 and Mode 2 are old, almost obsolete 2 and 4 digit military systems still used in some countries. Mode 3 is civilian squawking and Mode 4 is encrypted contemporary military. We can set our codes for Mode 1 and Mode 3A with these wheels. If we are asked by a ground controller to ident, we can do it here. Momentarily by pressing right mouse button, and that will momentarily send the signal for I think 30 seconds. Out is not transmitting. Or we can have this switch, which is mic, which means that we will ident whenever we push to talk button on our mic. So we'll leave that not transmitting. We have a test button here to test the system. We have our master switch here, which we can have the system off, the system receiving but not transmitting, the system in normal, receiving and transmitting, and we've got emergency mode transmission on all modes selected there. It's going to be in the normal position, obviously. We have a fault switch here, which will show if there are various faults in the system. We have our mode 1, 2, 3A and 3C on-off switches here. They're all on as standard in this hot started aircraft, and you can turn them off as required. Which ones you have on will depend on the airspace that you're flying and the mission that you're doing. So, mode 4, our main rotary switch here, which is very important. Hold, I'll come back to. We've got code A and code B. If you remember, encrypted military mode 4 consists of 2 codes, A and B. That's the code for today and the code for tomorrow. Why do you need 2 days worth of codes? Well, what if you're flying overnight and go into the next day and get challenged? You'll need the next day's code. Or if you go over time zones into the next day, that's why you have 2 codes. They are not seeable by the pilots. They are added in via a machine by the ground crew. We may want to temporarily hold those codes in memory while we shut down the aircraft, and that's when we'll put it into hold situation. And finally, if we want to destroy those codes or zero them back to 0, for some reason, maybe we don't want them in memory anymore, or maybe we're going to crash land and we don't want the baddies to get the codes, then we zero them like that. For God's sake, don't do that by accident. You'll lose your codes, and as far as I'm aware, you can't get them back. You've got the on-off switch here, which literally energizes the mode 4, which is kind of a separate system to the modes 1 to 3C. In terms of when you are replying, so you'll be interrogated by a hostile radar, and you may reply to that. If you reply to that, we will show a light here and or an audio tone, and which is selected here. Audio, out, and light. So audio is audio and light. Out is nothing, so you don't hear or see anything. And light means just the light will show when you are replying. And is there a thing there? No, I don't know what that little thing is there. And that's the IFF panel. The other one that I mentioned at the very beginning is slightly different format, but it works the same as far as I'm aware. All these panels pretty much work the same from this era of aircraft. Next, the F-14 Tomcat. We've had some very interesting pods added. First, we have got this guy at the back here, big sausage-looking thing. It is a TARPS pod, Tactical Airborne Reconnaissance Pod System. It's a camera or a spy pod for surveillance. If you can see the windows, there are a set of cameras that can look at the ground. I think it's from the early 1980s. At the moment, I'm pretty sure it doesn't do anything. Will something be added in to the Tomcat to allow this to function? Maybe. I don't know. You let me know. The next one is a very strange one. I can't really get my head around this. It is the AN-ALQ167 brackets non-functional. It's an ECS jamming pod, but when I kind of Google it and look up information on this pod, it talks about it being a simulation attack jamming pod. Almost like it's here to simulate electronic warfare attacks on other aircraft, and I'm just not smart enough to understand. It doesn't do anything in DCS, obviously, but please let me know about what you know about the 167. Finally, we have this here. It's not actually new, but it's the first time I've spotted it. Expanded chaff adapter, and obviously it has chaff cartridges in, and as far as I can see, it doesn't do anything. If I remove it, pop, I've got 140 chaffs. If I add it in, where is it? I've got 140 chaffs. So let me know if you think I've missed something on that. I can't see any obvious controls for it. Next, viewers, is the AJS37 Viggen, or Viggen as I like to call it. There have been several visual changes, mainly in the cockpit. I'll flash up on the screen the official documentation on it, and you can look at that if you like. But the best thing I can do is probably show you before the patch and after the patch. I'll have a slow pan around the cockpit, and you see if you can spot the differences. Right, so first I'll look at the old pre-patch. And now, the new patch, I'll do the same thing again, get rid of pilot. See if you can spot anything different. Unfortunately, viewers, I'm getting a bit old and my eyes are really starting to fail me at the moment. So you guys will be much better at this than me. Alright, that's the Viggen. Next, JF-17 Thunder. In the patch notes it said that we now have the ability to refill expired fuel tanks, exterior fuel tanks, from the comms or the ground crew menu. Just to show you, I have a tank on me that is empty and I'm shut down and everything is set and ready. Now I can't actually find this option. Let me try and get it where you can see it. Top right. I've got ATC or ground crew, so I'm going to go ground crew. If I can see that out the corner of my eye, the only thing there of any relevance is going to be configuration panel. And so I thought I would look at configuration panel instead because I can't find anything about the refilling of these fuel tanks. Please let me know if I've missed anything obvious. Anyway, the configuration panel is new to me. I haven't flown this aircraft in yonks. So this is interesting. I can do stuff while the aircraft is on the ground. I can change laser codes on certain stations. That is really good, to be fair. I can update my INS align data. I can remove my whale phallus probe. I can refill utilities. I don't know what that is, utilities. That normally means like oxygen bottles and stuff like that. Maybe other fluids, but probably not fuel. Let me know what you think. And I can remove the inlet cover and ladder if I want. Let's go and do that. U-boats, remove my bits.
It's a bit time consuming.
Apparently it's a bit time consuming. Inlet and ladder removed. Let me check. Check.
Laser code ready.
Thank you. Utility refilled complete. Whatever that means.
Finally done.
Phallus removed. Thank you, sir. Right, so let me know what you think about that, viewers. This is a two-way operation, obviously. I need your help just as much as you need me, or probably more, to be honest. The final one for today, viewers, is major changes to the Hornet flight model in the way it handles its angle of attack, and it now has the ability to get into certain instances where it will achieve a deep stall. Now, I'm not really smart enough and I don't really know this flight model well enough to quantify it for you, so instead I'm going to again punch this one back to you. Just be aware that there are some relatively major changes to the Hornet flight model, and let me know your thoughts on it. That's all I'm going to show today. There seems to be some interesting additions to the F-15E, so I will tackle that later.